We've braved the belly of the beast. We've learned that quiet isn't always peace.
It was one of the most striking moments at President Biden's inauguration. 22-year-old Amanda Gorman became the youngest inaugural poet in U.S. history and read her work about racial justice titled The Hill We Climb.
A country committed to all cultures, colors, characters, and conditions of man.
But now, Florida school bans poem read at Biden inauguration after objection of just one parent. The Miami Herald reports that the poem, which is titled The Hills We Climb, was removed from the K-5 curriculum in the county after local parent Daly Salinas challenged it as inappropriate for students. In addition to Gorman's poem, Salinas also challenged 4 other books: The ABCs of Black History, Cuban Kids, Countries in the New Cuba, and Love to Langston, for what she claimed were filled with indirect hate messages inspired by critical race theory. Indirect hate messages? Oh, come on. Anybody who has actually read those books and Amanda Gorman's poem would not find hate in any of the works. The books and the poem are about history or touch on themes in U.S. history, and American history hasn't always been fair or nice or just. You know that thing called slavery? And by the way, Amanda Gorman's poem was about reconciliation and democracy.
While once we asked, how could we possibly prevail over catastrophe? Now we assert, how could catastrophe possibly prevail over us? We will not march back to what was, but move to what shall be, a country that is bruised but whole, benevolent but bold, fierce and free.
Clearly, there is something about history that the parent, Miss Salinas, did not want their child to stumble across or read about. But instead of keeping the kid out of the elementary school library or telling teachers not to let the child read or check out any books, 4 books and a poem have now been removed. This action stems from a slew of education bills signed into law last year by Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. One law prohibits instruction related to gender, identity, or sexual orientation in kindergarten through 3rd grade. And it also says reading materials must be age appropriate. The law means that a single parent, like the one in Miami-Dade County, can request a ban that must be considered by a school materials review committee. In this case, 3 teachers, a library media specialist, a guidance counselor, and the school principal decided that the 4 books and the poem were better suited to middle school age children, even though the committee acknowledged that one book, The ABCs of Black History, was written for ages 5 and up. The Weak Need Committee, of course, did not include any lines or sentences from the books or poem that it considered more appropriate for middle schoolers. In other words, rather than stand up to the parent and face the wrath of conservatives, the committee just decided to ban the books and poem and hope nobody noticed. I appreciate their concerns about job security, but this situation has become outrageous. In Florida and other states, one parent can trigger the removal of a book and demand that kids not get their hands on something a family might not like. But when parents complain about the accessibility of assault weapons used to massacre kids in school, well, too bad. This is America, at least in many red states, a place where books and poems are to be feared, but firearms should be embraced. What a mess. By the way, a top conservative in Washington, D.C. recently got humiliated after whiffing on a Biden investigation.
But are you going to be able to prove the central thesis that President Biden was directly involved with corruption?
So right now, you could say that we're in the beginning stages of this investigation, but we're going to continue to look.
Check out that video at the link below. I'm David Shuster. Thanks for joining us.